Going Home, Book 1 in the Survivalist series by A. American, published in 2015. And yes, you heard me correctly, A. American. Quite the patriotic name there, until you look further into things and realize the A is for angry. Angry American. Probably not his real name, but still, it's a funny one. Synopsis. In the wake of this massive electrical blackout, Morgan Carter, an avid survivalist, he finds himself stranded 250 miles away from his home with no means of getting back to his family, but the determination, the drive to do so. This is a kind of story that you might get if you were to combine the scope of Stephen King's A Stand with the mystery and focus of McCormick McCarthy's The Road. Should you read this book? Yes, I thought it was enjoyable. Not great, but a decent little post-apocalyptic novel. Reading this book, it reminded me of the US presidential election, not because I actually think Trump will destroy America, but because people on Twitter and Facebook, they talk about it as if he will. Sometimes I wonder if the average person wants to believe the world is coming to an end. All this post-apocalyptic stuff, it's incredibly popular in fiction, and in the real world, these potential setbacks are interpreted as foreshadowing mankind's demise. Anyway, this novel, Going Home, it's an exciting story. The central characters are dynamic and, just as important, likable. That's always nice to see. It's a lot easier to root for characters you don't want to strangle with your bare hands. The story also builds, going through an interesting shift halfway through that adds in several new narrative perspectives, because it isn't just Morgan's story that matters. It's all their stories. More than that, it's a story of mankind's struggle to survive. But Going Home also has a very clear agenda to showcase how unprepared most citizens are for this kind of disaster, how dependent we've become on our gadgets. Though this wouldn't generally pose a problem for me, the author sacrifices believability in order to achieve this goal, which in this case means nearly everyone inexplicably becomes evil right off the bat. Yeah, I have a hard time believing that society would deteriorate this quickly or to this extent. Sure, people would panic, wondering when, if ever, the power might return, but fear wouldn't immediately set in. It wouldn't immediately turn the population into trigger-happy looters, murderers, and rapists when resources are still so plentiful. I mean, come on, the entire book spans less than a month. These fictional characters need to sit back, relax, grab a beer. Scratch that, give them a water instead. They're crazy enough without adding any more alcohol into the mix. Just because people suddenly have no power, no running water, and few running cars, doesn't mean the world would go completely mad. Does it? Maybe I'm just naive about these sorts of things. I don't know. In conclusion, Going Home is certainly worth reading. The survivalist elements are entertaining, and Morgan, he's been preparing for this sort of thing for a long time, so, well, he's prepared. And who doesn't like a good road trip novel? On a related but unrelated note, how was this book published in 2015? Book 7 in this series came out in February of this year, 2016. This guy cranks out books like a printing press. Anyway, that's all I've got. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Peace.